Hey everybody, so here we have another example of the distributive property. This time you'll see that we have even more awesomeness happening as we have variables, letters, we have integers, right? Both negative and positive numbers that are whole numbers, right? We don't have any decimals or fractions here. And we have a variety of operations. So as we get going here, you're going to see that there are a couple of different things happening. Wherever you start and however you approach these, the process will be the same. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come over here to this problem because there's something that's a little bit different than some of the other problems that you have explored so far. Um, so just in the way that it's written. So the process here is going to be the same, right? So we're going to be using the distributive property to change the look of this same expression. So we're going to take these two kind of things, these two little clumps of information inside of the different parentheses, and we're going to distribute them. We're going to distribute this -5 amongst everything else. And we know to do that because just like when a number is touching, like in this case, -6 is an integer, it's touching the parentheses, that implies multiplication. Well, same is true when you have these parentheses here touching these parentheses here. Whoops, that's a parenthesis. It still implies multiplication. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this -5 and you're going to distribute it amongst everything inside of these parentheses. So you go, okay, I'm going to do -5 times 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10, but we don't want 5 times 2. We want -5 2 times, which gets us -10. Or actually, to be more precise, first we would probably want to write it as -5 times 2. And then we can simplify it by saying that we're not going to call it -5 times 2. We're going to call it -10. Then we're going to distribute our -5 amongst the part we haven't done yet. So -5 times -5m. So in here, we're going to have -5 times -5m. And we know it's -5m because of this symbol right here. Okay, so as we look there, we say -5 times -5. Well, when I have two negatives and they come together, woo, through multiplication, they have a positively good time. So when you take two negatives, and we'll explore another time as we get more into integers as to why this makes sense. But for now, you can perhaps just kind of go with the thought that two negatives multiplied together become a positive. So two negatives, so 5 times 5 is 25. -5 times -5 is two negatives, which becomes positive 25. And it's not just 25, but it's 25m. So we're going to say, okay, we're no longer going to call it -5 times -5m. We're going to call it 25m. And we're going to say, okay, we can still have that inside our parentheses. We're going to say, oh, but we have this -10 over here, and we need to combine these together. Okay, so we've got -10 plus our 25m. Sometimes you can write it just like this. You can also flip it around if you want to just write it 25m plus -10 would also work. You can kind of commute those numbers around, or you could even say 25m minus 10. So all three of those solutions are equivalent to each other essentially, and just structured a little bit differently, depending kind of on what you want to do next with that information.